Let's go into Release Yoga here in Bergen County to find some inspiration to move, breathe, and thrive all season long. So Lisa is the owner of Release Yoga. Lisa, tell us a little bit more about what exactly is yoga. And I mean that because there's the physical, the strengthening, there's the flexibility, there's the calming, there's the energizing, sometimes there's a spiritual component. How do you define yoga?
Well, yoga literally means to yoke, union. So it could be union with everybody. So when we say namaste, it's the light in me honors the light in you. So it's saying that we see ourselves in others. So we're unionizing or yoking together. And then the other aspect is the mind, body, spirit connection. I've been practicing since I'm 18, so about 25 years. But I got really into it about 10 years ago is when I really devoted myself to the practice. And it was more than just the physical, the moving the body, like, oh, this feels good, I can go into whatever crazy pose. And then as I got older, I realized it's not about that. It's about calming the mind, working with the pranayama, and then doing what feels good for the body. It's not about looking like everybody else in the class. It's doing what feels right for you. We'll begin with Samavriti, so 4-part breath. Let's exhale fully. And inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. As the palms come to touch, we exhale, bring the hands down to the heart. Namaste. Inhale, we gaze up. Exhale, flip the palms.
What about when someone says, like, oh, yoga, it's too easy, I'm not getting enough of a workout. Like, what do you say to those comments?
Then they need to go into their body, create self-awareness, and decide what they need to do differently. So if a pose is, let's say, they're saying it's too slow or it's too easy, then there are definitely things that we can do. We can incorporate twists, we can go a little deeper, we can use blocks. So there's a lot of things that we can do. So yoga is not easy.
And what about someone who maybe is intimidated? They don't know yoga, they haven't tried, and they're a little scared to step into the class.
Yes, I always say the hardest part is walking in.
Yeah.
Once you walk in, you're good. You put your mat down, your mat is like your little haven. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. This is your time. You can lay in child's pose. You can lay in Shavasana the whole time. You follow what you can do. I always say give it about 3 classes. The first class, you're looking around. The second class, you're starting to come into your body. And by the third class, you're right in it with everybody else. And then from there, somebody asked me the other day, I finally got half moon down, which is a more challenging pose. And she said, I know I'm getting better because now I'm thinking, where does my gaze go? So if somebody's intimidated, you come in. If you're going to our studio, everybody's going to meet you where you are, and you're going to come on your mat and you're going to do what you can. And then every single time you come, it's you versus yourself. So it's what can I do today? And sometimes you have to let it up and you're not gonna be able to give 100. You're gonna give 100 of what you have. And the next time you're gonna come in and maybe you'll give a little more. But every single time you step onto your mat, this is your practice.
Sue, you're one of the yoga instructors here. Can you share a little bit more about what you focus on in your practice?
So in my practice, I really focus on mobility and our ability to move in a way that is going to help for longevity. So it's great to stretch, it's great to strengthen, and I like to challenge myself in those ways too, but I'm really, really focused on, can I do that when I'm 80? Can I do that when I'm 90? Can I do what I'm doing today to help support the things that I can do when I'm older? So mobility is addressing how your joints move. So we're looking at trying to get your joints to come into their full range of motion, meaning the ways that your hip can move. Are we moving the hip in all the ways it can move? In our day-to-day life, we're sitting a lot, we're driving, we're at our desks, so we don't move our hips much more than one of these businesses, right? Yeah. So mobility helps to encourage the full range of motion that your shoulder joint or your elbow joint, your hip joint, knee joints, all the joints, so that they can come into their full potential. All of us can find our optimal and full range of motion if we just start to pay attention to it. Here's the thing. Even if you move 1 minute a day, and I know it seems like, oh, I got to do so much, but even if you move 1 minute a day, and let's say you move later in the day, another minute. Let's say by the end of the day, you decided 3 to 5 minutes of movement. And sometimes that doesn't feel like it's a lot, but if you add those minutes up in a week, you can have banked, 15, 20, whatever minutes of movement that will help you and help you stay healthy, help you feel better, especially in the cold winter when it's going to be much harder to move and you're going to be less encouraged to move. These little things you can do, these little movement nuggets, right? These little mobility snacks can help you stay healthy, keep your mind from going to the dark side, and keep your body and your muscles and joints strong. So here's something that is anyone can start with, and even if it doesn't look like how I'm demonstrating it, or even if you're like, wow, this one movement is really hard, wherever you start is where you start, and that's where you begin, and it can only get better. Yes. So this is something that is known in like movement practices as a hip CAR. Hip for the hip, and CAR. It's a controlled articulated rotation. Okay. And so I'm going to use this, just like this wonderful little thing here, to help with balance. You could do it without the balance, but I'm going to show you with this because it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to shift my weight to just one foot, so in my case, my right foot, and I'm going to just pick up this left foot, bend the knee. So I'm going to target at the hip. This first movement is flexing at the hip. Yeah. So it's not, can I just pick up the foot? It's how high can I pick up the foot? How high can I bring the knee? So I want to bring it to the full range of motion without help. So that's part one. Part two is keep it high, then externally rotate it out to the side. I can do it this way, but I want to go as high as I can, as far out as I can. And I'm already stretching muscles and things are working. Now keep the knee really high without dropping it. Drop the knee down and bring the ankle up. Now you see how your body will want to come forward? You have to do the best you can to keep yourself upright, which is why having your hand on a chair support helps. So now I've internally rotated the hip. Then I'm going to move the knee back in space without leaning forward, and I'm extending the hip. So I'm bringing the leg back behind. You might feel that a bit in your back of your thighs. Then I can come forward again and begin the next rotation. Practice. So next hip CAR. Flexion, rotation, external, internal rotation, hip extension, back to hip flexion. That's great. And the key is not to do this. Right? Not to do it so quickly, because the idea is you want to take a moment to pause at the fullest range you can go, the fullest range you can go. And what's great about this is if you start doing it just a minute a day, you'll start to see the gains, even an inch at a time, but you'll get to see it.
Liza, so you are one of the instructors here at Release Yoga. What is your focus?
So my focus is on breath work, and I've been playing monthly sound baths as part of a holistic healing way that we can find clarity and calm in the mind.
If someone is not used to hearing all of these words and these yoga terms, we have a lot of these going around today, what do you tell them to explain what breath work is?
Okay, so breath work is actually pranayama. And pranayama was found in the ancient texts of yoga, in the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali, about in the 3rd century. So what it taught us is that prana is this subtle energy that permeates and interconnects everything. And yama means restraint and control. So they taught us techniques of how to control the breath to essentially calm the mind and connect mind and body. And especially in the winter months, when we find ourselves in darkness, we might wake up in a little darkness, we might not feel the best, and so one way of practicing is waking up in the morning, obviously maybe activating our grateful muscle first, right? Saying thank you, and starting by becoming aware of your breath. The breathing exercise, the pranayama that I will focus on today, is actually 3 breaths in one. One of the breathing exercises is a diaphragm breathing, which we breathe into the diaphragm. That's the one that expands the belly. It's called the belly breathing. Then we have the thoracic breathing, and that's the breath that goes into the rib cage. And finally, we have the clavicle breathing, and it goes all the way into the clavicle, and we find a little breath retention there, a little kumbhaka, a little breath retention. So we take these 3 breaths and we make it into a 3-part breath called yogic breathing. And we want to start by placing one hand over the belly and the other hand perhaps onto the heart. Close your eyes, and whether you're in a crisscross legged position or seated on a chair, perhaps even lying down onto the floor, all you need is a straight spine, relaxed throat. Notice if your ears are over your shoulders. Relax your shoulders. Slowly inhaling into the diaphragm. Notice your belly filling up with air. Notice how the breath moves into the rib cage, into the thoracic cavity. The breath fills all the way into the collarbones. When you have filled your body with air, just take a little breath retention, maybe just a few seconds. And as you exhale, begin to push the air out. Feel your chest pulling in and up, diaphragm pushing in and up. And you're using your diaphragm to really push the air out.
Liza, thank you.
You're so welcome.
And what a great just a reminder too of just how much space there is to
Absolutely.
fill that we don't take advantage
Yes.
of. Is there one aspect of your yoga practice over the years and discovering yoga over the years that really stands out as maybe the most impactful to you?
I think the quiet that you find within. I never knew that that existed. I thought it was purely physical. People talked about meditation. People talked about quieting the mind. I had not experienced it. And then as soon as I did, it was like something inside of me went off. And I just was like, wow. And I said to the instructor, I said, my mind got quiet. And she said, that's yoga. And it's yoga chitta vritti nirodha, which means calming the fluctuations of the mind. And that's really what the goal of yoga is. And finding that is spectacular. And once you find it, it's almost like you're chasing it because you constantly are looking for that place. And every time you want to go there, it gets a little easier. So being able to close your eyes, but you said 5 minutes at home, 5 minutes, you can find that place. And that's really, really important.